Alright, mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Oh, we're live. And guys, I'm just back from my college. That's the reason the stream was a little late. But that aside, what are we going to be doing this live? Today we're going to be working on gravity again. Last stream I worked through gravity. I got kind of brain dead at the end of the stream because I was really exhausted. But today I'm going to be working on gravity again. So let's go to the gameplay screen and maybe mute myself here, get Sutsui up here. And guys, as you can tell, I didn't have time to even change that says chat, so this is going to be the same chat. Let me just say, Sutsui, it's the other day and I'm live again. Okay, let's just say that. Good, welcome back, my student. You showed up. That's what matters. Since you're alive, we'll continue sharpening your blade. Yesterday, you wrestled with gravity plus collision, and you got tired because you were juggling too many things at once. Today, before we jump to enemies, let's master gravity plus jump plus floor alone. That's your foundation. If your foundation is too weak, your game will always break later. I'll start you with a tiny stripped version, no enemies, no score, just gravity and jumping. You'll tap this with your own fingers after I show you. Do you want me to give you the clean instruction version first, or throw you in a broken version to throw you into a broken version to fix right away? Choose wisely. Let me say. Let's say, um, can we do instructional based questions, question mark? But before that, can you explain me everything again to um review? I mean, for review actually would make more sense for review, because guys, I didn't have time to learn anything yesterday. The only time I learned actually was while I was streaming, because I do have a lot of college stuff today as well. After streaming, I gotta do my college work and everything. That aside, let me lubricate my lips. I didn't have time to lubricate it. Good, you chose wisely, Vivek. A real warrior reviews his techniques until it's muscle memory. Let's review gravity plus jumping step by step. I'll explain like a sensei carving knowledge into your skull. The player's rect positional box, your player underscore image, is just pixels, but movement and collision happens with the rect. Rectangle box you make, okay? Yeah, that makes sense. Player underscore rect dot x axis controls the left right. Player underscore rect dot y axis controls up and down. The rect is the body of your player, okay? Gravity is nothing magical, it's just increasing the player's velocity downwards every frame. So player velocity starts at 0, velocity is speed in y direction. Gravity equals to zero point 0.5, how strong gravity pulls down each frame. So player underscore y underscore velocity, we increase that by our gravity, add gravity to velocity, player underscore rect dot y axis, our player's y axis, we increase that by our player's velocity, which is basically 0.5, move player down. If you don't stop this, the player falls forever. That's why we need, okay, that's why we need floor collision. We create a floor rect, so floor equals to pygame.rect. So x-axis 0, y-axis is 400, width is 800, height is 200. Then check if player underscore rect dot bottom is greater than or equal to our floor's y-axis. Player underscore rect, if that happens, player underscore rect at bottom equals to our floor's y-axis. Okay, so our player basically stays in the same level as our floor. Player underscore y underscore velocity equals 0, resets velocity, so the player doesn't sink through the ground. Jumping is just giving the player a sudden negative velocity upwards. If keys at index of pygame.k space, if our space key is pressed and our player underscore rect at bottom is greater than or equal to our floor dot y-axis, player underscore y-axis underscore velocity equals to negative 12. Okay, negative up, positive down. Gravity will pull it back down after the jump. Game loop flow. Every frame the order is check for input, apply gravity, apply floor collision, draw everything. Okay. Alright, this repeats 60 frames per second, okay, because of clock dot takes summary rect player's box, player underscore y underscore velocity equals how fast player moves, gravity equals add speed downwards every frame, floor equals boundary so player doesn't fall forever, jump equals to give negative velocity when on floor. Okay, now my student, do you want me to give you a full clean code template for this to review so you can rewrite it from scratch multiple times, or do you want me to start asking you questions based on start asking you instruction based questions immediately? Honestly, I might go with the template. Let's say I understood it in theory, although I do need to know what to place when. So maybe can I get a template? So maybe can I get a code to see how it works? Then we could do instructional based questions, question mark. Guys, ignore my typos, I cannot type. Alright, yes, that's the spirit. Theory without practice is useless. Let me show you the cleanest template your battlefield for gravity plus jumping. Here's the minimal working code for gravity plus jumping plus floor. So first we import Pygame, initialize the VRR FPS controller, VRR display settings, and then color. Okay, I'm pretty sure that color is for the sky, that color is for the floor, and that color is for something. Floor equals to pygame.rect, x-axis, y-axis, width, and height. Okay, load and scale player image. So we loaded player's image, we scale player's image rect. Player underscore rect equals pygame.image.get rect. Our rect's position is at the top left 100 by 300. Okay, player physics. So our player's y-axis velocity set to 0, our gravity set to 0.5, our jump strength is set to -12. Game loop running, so we created an is running or like a running boolean variable, and while running we added fps, added event loop, checked if the event type is pygame.quit, then we set our learning to false. Input, okay, keys equals to pygame.key.get pressed. If our keys at index of pygame.key is space, if our space key is pressed, and our player underscore reg.bottom, our player's bottom is greater than or equal to our floor, player underscore y-axis underscore velocity equals to jump strength. Okay, jump only if on ground. Okay, player underscore y-axis, this is for the physics. So player underscore y-axis underscore velocity increases by my gravity, that applies gravity. Player underscore rect dot y-axis plus equals to our player underscore y-axis underscore velocity. So our player's y-axis increases by our player's y-axis velocity, which technically is 0.5 right now. And then for our floor collision, if player underscore reg.bottom, if our player's bottom is greater than or equal to our floor's y-axis, we set our player underscore rect underscore bottom, our player's bottom, to be equal to our floor's y-axis, and our y-axis velocity is going to be set to 0. That resets it, and then we add graphics. We draw it. So screen.fill blue, so we fill our screen with the blue color that we added here. There. And then pygame.draw.rect, we draw a rect in the screen brown floor, draw floor, and then screen.blit image. Okay, I see. This is the core skeleton. Press space, jump, gravity pulls player down, floor stops. Once you rewrite this from memory a few times, your fingers will automatically know what to place where. Question for you, warrior. Do you want me to give you broken versions of this code? Training mode or instructional challenge? Add enemy. Okay. Sensei, can we do instructional based questions on this exact topic for a few questions until I don't get a grasp of it? Question mark. Okay, yes, soldier, you want to master gravity and jumping? Then we drill it until it's burnt into your brains. Here's how we'll do it. I'll give you instructional questions step by step. You'll write the code yourself, no copy paste. Mine, okay? And if you mess up, I'll yell until you fix it. Question 1. Add left-right movement to the player using arrow keys. Press right, moves right, left, player moves left. But don't forget the player must still be affected by gravity and floor collision. Okay, let me say one question at a time, let's say. Okay, question 1. Add left and right movement to the player using arrow keys. The player still falls with gravity. Do not touch gravity or floor logic, just add horizontal movement with arrow keys. Okay, so let me get Sensei there. Start up by importing Pygame. Let me import Pygame, then initialize Pygame by typing pygame.init. Okay, and then let me add FPS. So for FPS, I'll create a clock variable, or clock, I'll set that equal to pygame.time.clock. I'll add a comment that says FPS controller. Okay, and then let me go ahead and add a display. So I'll create a comment that says display, and I'll create, I don't know, maybe a width comma height. I'll create two variables. The width is going to be 800, the height is going to be 600. Then let me create a screen variable. I'll set that equal to pygame.display.set underscore mode. The mode is going to be my width comma height. Okay, and then maybe let me go ahead and add a caption. To add a caption, I'll type pygame.display.set underscore caption. I'll keep my caption to something like gravity logic. Okay, and then after adding my display, let me go ahead and load my images. So load images. To load my images, let me go with, let's see. My first image is going to be my player underscore image, which I'll set to pygame.image.load, and then I'll give my file's path. My file's path is game items to forward slashes, npcs to forward slashes, and player png. I will convert it to .alpha, so convert underscore alpha because it's a png. Then let me go ahead and create rex. So I'll capitalize my rex as well. Okay, to create a rect, I'll create another variable called player underscore rect, which is gonna be equal to player underscore image dot get underscore rect. The position is gonna be top left. Okay, I'll set that equal to a tuple of 300. Actually, I'll go with 100 by 300. Okay, we created Rex, we loaded image, we added our display. Now let me add player physics. So my player physics, for my player physics, my player's y-axis. So player underscore y-axis underscore velocity is going to be set to 0 for now. I'll go with a player underscore x-axis underscore velocity. I'll set that equal to, I don't know, like 5 pixels per frame. Then maybe let me add a global gravity variable. So gravity is going to be 0.5. Okay. I need a jump speed as well, so I'll go with jump underscore strength. So my jump strength is going to be set to, let's see, -12. Alright. And then let's see. So I went with players y-axis velocity, players x-axis velocity, player jump strength. Pretty sure there's nothing else I need. So let me go ahead and add my game loop. For my game loop, I'll create a is underscore running boolean variable. I'll set that equal to true, and then add a while loop. So while is underscore running, while my program is running or while my is running is set to true, I will add FPS. So to add FPS, I'll go with clock.tick 60. So my FPS is going to be 60 frames per second, tick 60, and maybe I'll add a commenter that says FPS. And now let me iterate over my Pygame events. To iterate over my Pygame events, I'll actually create an event loop and then go with for every event in my pygame.event.get. This gets all my Pygame events. I'll look for a specific type of event. If my event.type equals to pygame.quit, capitalize quit, I'll set my is underscore running boolean variable to be equal to false. There we go. Okay, now with that out of the way, let me go ahead and add a pygame.display.flip. This basically updates my display. And lastly, I'll go with a pygame.quit. Okay, perfect. And let me honestly add a few RGB colors. So I'll go with RGB colors. Okay, there we go. So the RGB colors that I'm going to be needing is black, blue, and brown. For that, let me actually go to another tab, scroll down until I find my RGB color picker, get the tab here. Okay, let's see the RGB colors that I need. So the first one that I need is gonna be blue. That blue looks good, so that's 0, 188, 255. So I'll go with blue, which is gonna be equal to the RGB color of 0, 188, and 255. Was it this? Okay. And then after that, what else would I need? So what's the second color? The second color that I need is most likely brown. So that's about right for brown. So 138, 100, and 0. 138, 100, and 0 for brown. Okay, brown is going to be 138, 100, and 0. And I most likely spelled blue wrong. There we go. Okay, and lastly, maybe I need a black. I know the RGB for black. It's gonna be 0, 0, 0. Okay, now let me go ahead and add a screen.fill. So I'll go down outside my loop, indent that, and go with a screen a screen.fill. I'll fill my screen with the color blue. There we go. And actually, it should be outside the pair of quotes. There we go. Okay, and then let me go ahead and add my player movement. So I'll go with a player movement. Okay, for my player movement. Okay, I'll create a keys variable. I'll set that equal to pygame.key.get underscore pressed. Okay, and then I'll go with a bunch of if statements. If my keys at index of pygame.key is right. If my right key is pressed, I'll go with my player underscore rect dot x-axis. I will increase that by my player underscore x-axis underscore velocity. And if my keys at index of pygame.key is left, if my left key is pressed, I will decrease my player underscore rect x-axis by my player underscore x underscore velocity. Okay, and then let me go ahead and add my player graphics. So player graphics. Okay, for my player graphics, I'll go with screen.blit. I'll blit my player underscore image, and the position is going to be the position of my player underscore rect. Okay, now if I were to run the command, there is a blue screen. The screen.blit. I forgot to transform my image, my bad guys. So after loading the image, you go down here, then go with player underscore image equals to pygame.transform dot scale. Okay, I want to scale my pygame, my player underscore image, my bad guys. My player underscore image, I want the size to be my, let's see. Okay, I want the size to be an integer. I'll go with the player underscore image dot get underscore width. I'll get the width of my image, and then I'll multiply that by, I don't know, 0.1 for it to be 10% of its original size. Okay, and then I'll go with an integer. I'll get pygame player, guys. I always forget player. Okay, player underscore get height. Okay, so I'll get my player underscore image height, and then I'll multiply that by 0.1 as well. Okay, that's basically it. Now if I run the command, there's a player here. The player can move left, right, but they can still exit the window. I can trap the player in the window, so let's trap the player in my window. I'll go here and add a comment that says trap player in window. To trap player in window, I'll go with my player underscore rect dot x-axis. I'll get the reassigned player's x-axis to be equal to max, which is going to be 0, and min is going to be my player underscore rect dot x-axis, comma my player, comma 800, my window size, minus my player underscore rect dot width. And I'll do the same thing for my height as well. I'll go with player underscore rect dot y-axis this time. I'll just replace the x's with y's, 800 with 600, and widths with height. So I'll go with max, which is going to be 0, min, which is going to be player underscore rect dot y-axis, comma. This time I'll go with 600. My vertical window size minus my player underscore rect dot height. Okay, now if I run the command, my player should be able to leave this size window and leave this size window as well. Neither can my player leave top or bottom, but I didn't add my top and bottom key movements yet because I'm going to be using gravity for that. Okay, that aside, since I just said me to do this for now, I can add the gravity logic as well, but I want to go in the pace that Sensei saying me. So now the next one is going to be a little harder. Okay, paste it, say, Sensei, I did a bit more than you asked and added walls. So player can't leave the display. Dot dot dot. Okay. Ha ha ha, good, you went beyond the mission just like a real warrior should. You didn't just move the player left and right, you added screen bounce too so the player can escape the arena. That's actually perfect game logic, but listen closely soldier, you forgot gravity and jumping for our main mission. I'm pretty sure Sensei didn't say anything about gravity and jumping here. Okay, it literally said don't touch gravity and floor logic yet. Okay, that aside, your next mission, add back gravity plus jumping to your core while keeping the left and right movement walls you already made spacebar equal jump. Only if player is on the floor, gravity pulls the player down. Player should land on the floor at y-axis which equals to 400. Let's make the floor rectangle again. Now show me your updated code, apprentice. Okay, let's get Sensei there. I'm pretty sure honestly kinda know what to do, maybe. Okay, so I'll go with another if statement here. So, before I go with my if statement, honestly, let me go ahead and add a floors variable here. Excuse me, guys. Okay. Okay, so I'll go with a floor. So this is going to be my floor, and I'll create a floor variable. I'll set that equal to pygame dot get rect. I remember there was a get rect. I'm trying to recall. Okay, got it. So it's pygame.rect. There we go. I got the x-axis 0, y-axis, I don't know, like probably my height variable. Now the width and height, honestly, wait. The x-axis 0, y-axis I'll keep it something like 300 for now. I'll change that later. Width to be my width variable and height to be 400. Okay, there we go. Okay, now let me add my if statement. So if my keys at index of pygame.key is space if my space bar is pressed, and my player player underscore rect dot bottom, my player's bottom is greater than or equal to my floor dot y-axis, I will do something. My player underscore rect dot y-axis is going to be equal to my jump speed, my jump strength. Okay, let's check that up real quick. There we go. Okay, now I need to add my gravity logic. My jump does work there, so jump works. That's a huge jump. Okay, now let me add my gravity logic. So go with gravity logic. Okay, for my gravity logic, let's see what all do we need for gravity. So for gravity, I want my player to jump up and then get pulled down. Currently my y velocity is set to 0, so I'll go with my player underscore y-axis underscore velocity. I'll increase that by my gravity. So basically a 0.5% of external forces pulling my player down. And then I'll go with my player underscore rect dot y-axis. I'll increase that by my player underscore rect player underscore y-axis underscore velocity. Okay. Then I'll add an if statement. So that's gravity logic. Now to apply the gravity. So I'll go with apply gravity. There we go. Okay, so to apply my gravity, I'll go with. Honestly, I feel this is called applying gravity. Let me copy that, paste it here. Okay, now I'll go with the if statement. So if my let's see, player underscore rect dot y-axis is greater than or equal to my floor dot y-axis. This should be bottom or most like I feel like dot bottom. Okay, if my player's bottom is greater than or equal to my floor's bottom, then I do something. My player underscore rect dot y-axis equals to jump strength. Am I doing this part correct? Instead of adding this here, I'll go with increases by, so plus equals to my player underscore y-axis underscore velocity. And now, huh, that's pretty strange for my player, guys. Let's see. Okay, what if this was back to jump strength? Guys, I feel like I kind of messed up. Okay, let me go with Control A, Control C. Get center here. Okay, paste it at a bunch of space and say, I feel like I messed up, question mark. Good instincts, apprentice, you're right, you messed up. But that's good because it means you're learning to spot the cracks in your own armor. Here's where your code went wrong, okay? Jumping mistake. If keys at index of pygame.k space and my player underscore rect dot bottom is greater than or equal to my floor's y-axis, player underscore rect dot y-axis equals to my jump strength. You set the player's position to the jump strength. You should have set it to the velocity instead. You should have set the velocity instead. Oh, I see. Landing mistake. If player underscore rect dot bottom is greater than or equal to my floor's y-axis, you're teleporting the player into the sky every time they touch the floor. What you should do is reset the player on the floor and stop downwards velocity. Okay. Okay. Big score gravity. So this is my apply gravity and that's my landing, that's my jumping. I see. Okay, so that's my apply gravity. This should be my velocity. So my y-axis velocity is going to be equal to my jump strength. I applied gravity here. Okay, and then if my player underscore rect dot bottom is greater than or equal to my floor's y-axis, my player underscore rect dot bottom is going to be is going to be equal to my jump strength, and then I will reset my player's y velocity. So my player underscore y-axis underscore velocity is going to be equal to 0. Okay. Okay, my player still popped from the top. I'm pretty sure I know why. I'm pretty sure. By velocity. Okay, what was the part that I did that was setting my player off to the... Oh. Okay, dot y-axis. This should be good. Now if I jump, perfect. Okay, I won't call it perfect, but it is something. It's like a progress. Can I exit the window? I can't exit the window. Okay, now let me do this part again. So what are the variables that I needed? I needed RGB colors, I needed floor, I needed player physics, I needed jump strength. Okay, so I'll go to, what was this? Oh, I remember this was if I touch it, it changes, but that aside, let me actually delete this. I'll do it in this tab. So let me start up by doing everything again. I'll start up by importing Pygame, then initializing Pygame by typing pygame.init, okay, and then adding FPS. So I'll create a clock variable, set that equal to pygame.time.clock. Maybe I'll add a comment that says FPS controller. Okay, and then let me go ahead and add my display. So for my display, I'll go ahead and create a width comma height variable. I'll set that equal to 800 by 600. That's going to be a window size. And then to create my window, I'll go ahead and create a screen variable. So that equal to pygame.display. Excuse me guys, pygame.display.set underscore mode. I'll set my mode in a tuple. My mode is going to be my width variable and my height variable. Then let me go ahead and add caption. So I'll go with pygame.display.set underscore caption. My caption is going to be something like gravity controller. Okay, then let me go ahead and load my images. So I'll load images. Okay, to load my images, my first image is going to be my player image. So I'll go with player underscore image, which is going to be equal to pygame.image dot load. Let me go ahead and load my, let me give my image path. So game items followed by 2 forward slashes followed by npcs followed by 2 more forward slashes and my player png, and then let me convert it to alpha, convert underscore alpha. Okay, because it is a png, and then let me create rex. So I'll create a rectangle. To create a rectangle, I'll create a new variable called player underscore rect. I'll set that equal to pygame.rect with a capitalized rect. I'll give the x-axis, y-axis, width, and my height. My x-axis is going to be 0. Y-axis is going to be, let's see, I don't know, like 300. Actually 200. Excuse me guys. Width is going to be my width variable. Height is going to be, I don't know, like 200. Okay, and then let me go ahead and add my player physics. So player physics. For my player physics, I'll need a player underscore y-axis underscore velocity. This is going to be my player's y-axis velocity, which I'm going to set to 0 for now. Then I'll need a player underscore x-axis underscore velocity, which is going to be, I'll keep it at 5 pixels per frame. And then I'll need a jump strength. So my player's jump strength. There we go. My player's jump strength is going to be something like -10 this time. Okay, that's basically it for my player. I will add a global gravity variable. So I'll go with gravity equals to 0.5. Okay, and then let me go ahead and add my game loop. So I'll go with game loop. For my game loop, I'll go ahead and create a is underscore running boolean variable. I'll set that equal to true. And then add a while loop. So while is underscore running, while my program is running or while my is running is set to true. Let me change that to is. I will add my FPS. So my clock variable dot tick, I'll set that to be 60. Tick, I'll set that to be 60 and maybe add a comment that says FPS. Then let me go ahead and iterate over my Pygame event. So I'll go with a event loop. For iterating over my Pygame's event, I'll type for every event in my pygame.event.get. This gets all my Pygame events. I'll look for a specific type of event. If my event.type equals to pygame.quit, I'll set my is underscore running boolean variable to be false. Then let me go ahead and update my display. I'll go with a pygame.display.flip. I could go with pygame.display.update. Both work the same. Then let me go with a pygame.quit. Okay, now let me go ahead and add my RGB variables. So, my RGBs. So let me go with RGB colors. Okay, for that, I'll just go here and copy my RGB colors because, yeah. I could like check it, but then it's gonna save so much time if I just copy my RGB colors. Okay, and then I'll need a floor. So, floor. Okay, I'll create a floor variable, set that equal to pygame.rect because my floor is a rect. Honestly, did I already create a floor? Okay, I didn't create a floor variable. Okay, so my floors properties. Honestly, I forgot my floors properties. I mean, I could always do trial and error to get these properties, but I'll check it from here. So it's 0, 300 width, and 400. So 0, 300 width, and 400. There we go. And while I was checking that, I saw one more thing. My bad, guys. So player dot rect. For my player rect, I should have gone with my player underscore image dot get my player underscore image dot get rect, and my rect position is going to be top left, which is going to be equal to a tuple of 100 by 300. Okay, let me actually check if I got it. Okay. Alright, next up, let me go with a screen dot fill. This is going to fill my screen. What color do I want to fill my screen with? I'll go with by blue color. Okay, and then let me go ahead and add my player underscore movement. My player movement. Actually, I don't need underscore. I can just go with a hashtag. So I'll go with a hashtag for a comment. Player movement. For my player movement, I'll create keys variable, set that equal to pygame.key.get underscore pressed. Then I'll add a bunch of if statements. If my keys variable at index of pygame dot key is right, if my right key is pressed, I will do something. I will increase my player underscore rect dot x axis by my player underscore rect dot by my player underscore x underscore velocity. Okay, and if my keys at index of pygame dot k is let's see, right. Okay, this should be left, my bad. Left. I will decrease my player underscore rect dot y axis dot x axis. This should be lowercase. So my player underscore rect dot x axis, I'll decrease that by my player underscore x underscore velocity. And I think it's lastly, if my keys at index of pygame dot key is space. If my space key is pressed, and my player underscore rect dot bottom, and my player's bottom is greater than or equal to my floor's y-axis. Okay, my player underscore y-axis underscore velocity is going to be equal to my jump strength, which is -10. Okay, now let me go ahead and trap my player in window. To trap my player in window, let's see, let me go with my player underscore rect dot x axis is going to be equal to max. The max is going to be 0. The min is going to be, let's see, my min is going to be my player underscore rect dot x axis comma 800, my display size minus my player, excuse me guys, underscore rect dot width. Okay, and I'll do the same thing with my player underscore rect dot y axis. I'll just change the width with height and x axes to y axes. So max is going to be 0, min is going to be my player underscore rect dot y axis comma 600, my vertical display size minus my player underscore rect dot height. Okay, that should trap my player in. Now let me go ahead and apply gravity. Apply gravity. To apply gravity, I'll take my player underscore y underscore velocity, my player's y axis velocity. I will increase that by my gravity variable. Okay, and then let me go ahead and take my player underscore rect dot y axis, and I will increase that by my player underscore y underscore velocity. Alright, now let me work on my landing. So for my landing, let me add an if statement. If my player underscore rect dot bottom is greater than or equal to my floor underscore rect dot bottom, I spelled rect wrong. Okay, and I spelled floor wrong as well. There we go. My floor dot y-axis, actually my bad guys, my floor dot y-axis greater or equal to my floor dot y-axis. Okay, I will set my player underscore rect dot bottom to be equal to my floor dot y-axis, and then I will reset my player underscore y-axis underscore velocity to be 0, its original value. Okay, that should do it for the gravity logic, the player movement and all that. Now let me go ahead and add graphics. For my graphics, let me go ahead and let's see. Let me go with a screen.blit. I will blit something to my screen. What will I blit to my screen? First, let me blit my player underscore image, and then the location is going to be my player underscore rect. Okay, and then let me go ahead and draw my floor. So pygame.draw.floor. My bad guys, my floor is a rect. So dot rect, my surface is going to be my screen. And then the color of my floor is going to be brown. Alright, and then I'll need an x-axis, y-axis, width, and height. So those are going to be my floor's attributes. So I'll go with floor. Alright, that's honestly basically it. Let me run the command. Okay, I forgot to transform my players. And I canceled that. Oh my gosh, what was it? So that was 1, 2, 3. That's definitely my practice 4. There we go. Okay, I forgot to add a transform my player. So let me go with transform and scale. It's a pretty good habit to add a function. So I'll define a scale function. So I'll define scale. I'll add 2 parameters. First is going to be image. Second is going to be factor. I'll set factor to be 0.1, which is going to be 10%. And then let me go ahead and return pygame.transform.scale. I will scale. Before that, I'll fix my typo. There we go. Okay, I want to scale my image, comma. The height of my image is going to be an integer. Let's see. So my image, I'll get the width of my image.get width, and then I'll multiply that by my factor, which is going to be 0.1. Multiplied by the factor. Then I'll do the same thing for the height of my image. So I'll get my image dot get underscore height. I'll get the height of my image, and then I'll multiply that by my factor as well. Now let's go ahead and reassign my player underscore image to be equal to invoke my scale function, my player underscore image. Invoke the scale function. Alright, perfect. Now if I run the command, there is a nice little player here who can move and even jump. Okay, I feel like I understand it. Let me go with the control A to delete all this now. And maybe for some more practice, guys, I honestly might do that again. Okay, so let me start by importing pygame. Import pygame and then initialize pygame by typing pygame.init. Then let me go ahead and add FPS control. So I'll go with clock equals to pygame dot time dot clock. I'll maybe add a comment that says FPS controller. Then let me go ahead and add display. There we go. Maybe in a capitalized display. So display. For display, I'll go ahead and create a width comma height variable. I'll set that equal to 800 and 600. Then let me go ahead and create a screen variable. I'll set that equal to pygame.display.set underscore mode. I'll set my mode to be a tuple. Inside the tuple, my positions of my mode. My position is going to be my width comma my height. Okay, and then let me add a a caption. To add a caption, I'll go with pygame.display.set underscore caption. Let's see, what's my caption gonna be? This is gonna be underscore, not hyphen. Okay, my caption can be something like gravity controller. Okay, and then let me go ahead and add let me load my image actually. So I'll load images. This time, let me go ahead and load my monster image, my NPC's image to my player image. So I'll go with enemy underscore image equals to pygame.image dot load. I'll load my enemy image. I'll give the file path for my image. My file's path is going to be my game item followed by two forward slashes followed by npcs followed by two more forward slashes at boss png. Okay, and I will convert this to alpha because it's a png. If it was a regular background and not a png, then I wouldn't convert it to alpha. Okay, now let me go ahead and add a transform and scale. There we go. Transform and scale. Maybe fix my typo. Okay, now to transform and scale, let me go ahead and define a function called scale. Define a scale function. Hello brother, how did you learn coding? Where did you start it from? I'm planning to learn it. Okay, so when I started my 100 series, honestly, the only place I actually learned coding was from ChatGPT/Sensei and YouTube tutorials. YouTube tutorials didn't seem to honestly help me as much as ChatGPT did because I got a lot of practice with ChatGPT. But I highly recommend watching YouTube tutorials as well to get started if you're a complete beginner like I was when I started. I had like no prior coding experience. But that aside, I got some basics by watching YouTube tutorials, like learn what are print statements, what variables were, what typecasting were, what user inputs were, and all those stuff like while loops, for loops, nested loops. And then I moved on to ChatGPT/Sensei for a lot of questions, and that did help me a lot. Okay, hi. How are you doing, Mohammed? I appreciate you joining the stream. And how are you doing, Mohit? I appreciate you joining the stream as well. Okay, now let's get back to the question. Okay, scale, I'll add two parameters. First is going to be image, and then it's going to be factor. My factor is going to be set to 0.1. Okay. Oh, okay, thank you. No problem. Let me know if you guys have any other question. I'll do my best to answer the questions, although I'm not as good myself as well. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and return pygame dot transform dot scale. Okay, I want to scale my image. I want the size to be a tuple. So my size is going to be in an integer. I'll go with my image dot get underscore height. I'll get the height of my image and then actually I'll get the width of my image first. So I'll go with image dot get underscore width and I'll multiply that by my factor. Then I'll add a comma, add another integer. This time I'll get my image height and I'll multiply my height by my factor as well. Okay, and then let me go ahead and reassign my enemy underscore image variable. I'll set that equal to, I'll invoke my scale function and enemy image. Okay, perfect. Next up, let me go ahead and create Rex. So let me create Rex. To create Rex, I'll create a new variable called player. Actually, I'll go with enemy underscore Rex. So enemy underscore Rex, which is going to be equal to my enemy underscore image dot get underscore rect and I'll set that equal to the attributes of my enemy rect. So actually I'll go with top left. This is going to be the position. My position is going to be 100 by 300. Okay, then let me go ahead and add my player physics. So for my player physics, there we go. I'll need my player underscore y-axis underscore velocity, which is going to be equal to 0. Then my player underscore x-axis underscore velocity, which is going to be, let's see, 5 pixels per frame. I don't know. Then I'll go with a jump speed. Honestly, this should be enemy. Like, it'd be more readable if it's enemy because I'm working with my enemy right now. There we go, enemy. And then let me go ahead and add a, let's see, jump speed, actually jump strength. Okay, my jump strength is going to be equal to -12. So that's basically jumping upwards. Positive is downwards. And also add a global gravity variable. My gravity is going to be equal to 0.5. Excuse me, guys. Okay, now let me go ahead and add a floor where my player is going to be standing. So I'll create a floor variable. I'll set that equal to pygame.rect because my floor is going to be a rect. Now the attributes of my floor. So I don't know, I'll keep it like 0 to 100 width. This is the x-axis, that's the y-axis, that's the width. Width is going to be my width variable. Height is going to be, I don't know, like 200. Excuse me, guys. Okay. Now with that out of the way, let me go ahead and add my main game loop. For my game loop, I'll go ahead and create a is underscore running boolean variable. I'll set that equal to true, and then add a while loop. So while is underscore running, while my program is running or while my is running is set to true, I will add my FPS. So I'll go with clock.tick 60. Okay, and then maybe I'll add a comment that says FPS. Now let me iterate over my pygame event. So I'll create a event loop. So for my event loop, the way I'll iterate over my pygame events is I'll use a for loop for every event in my pygame.event.get. This gets all my pygame events. I'll look for a specific type of event. If my event.type equals to pygame.quit, capitalized or uppercase quit, I'll set my is underscore running boolean variable to be equal to false. Then outside my loop, I'll update my display. I'll go with a pygame.display.flip. I could go with pygame.display or update, both works the same. Then let me lastly go with a pygame.quit. Alright, perfect. Let me actually add my RGB colors as well. So RGB colors. Okay, now I could go to the RGB colors website and look for the specific colors, but since I have it here, I'll just copy it because it's going to save time. Okay, let me copy those. Go to my practice 5. Is it practice 5 or practice 3? Practice 3. I'll paste it here. Okay, now I'll go with a screen.fill. There we go. I'll go with a screen.fill. I want the color to be blue. So that's going to be my blue RGB color. Then let me go ahead and add my player movements. So player movement. For my player movements, I'll create a keys variable and set that equal to pygame.key.get underscore pressed. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and add a bunch of if statements. If my keys at index of pygame.key is right, if my right key is pressed, I will do something. I will increase my player underscore rects x-axis by my player underscore x underscore velocity. Oh, this is gonna be enemy. Okay, enemy. Enemy. There we go. And this is going to be enemy as well. Okay, there we go. Now, if my keys are index of pygame.k is left, if my left key is pressed, I will decrease my enemy underscore rects x-axis. I'll decrease it by my enemy underscore x-axis underscore velocity. And lastly, if my keys at index of pygame.key is space, if my space bar is pressed, this should be k underscore space. If my space bar is pressed and my enemy underscore rect dot bottom, if my enemy's bottom is greater than or equal to my floor dot y-axis, I'll fix my typo. I will do something. I will set my player underscore y-axis underscore velocity to be equal to my jump underscore strength. Okay, there we go. Now let me go ahead and add, let me trap my player in window, because with this code my player could exit and leave off the window, but this block of code is going to trap my player. So to trap my player in my window, I'll go with my enemy underscore rect dot x-axis. Honestly, enemy would sound better. Trap enemy in window, and this is going to be my enemy movement. Okay, my enemy underscore rect dot y-axis is going to be equal to max. The max is going to be 0. Min, the min is going to be my enemy underscore rect dot y-axis comma 800, my horizontal window size, minus my enemy underscore rect dot width. I'll do the same thing for y-axis. I'll just switch the x's with y's and the heights with widths, the widths with heights. So I'll go with enemy underscore rect dot y-axis equals to max. The max is going to be 0. The min is going to be enemy underscore rect dot y-axis. Honestly, this should be x-axis here. There. Comma 600, my vertical display size, minus my enemy underscore rect dot height. There we go. Now my player shouldn't be able to leave the window. Okay, now let's apply gravity. Let me go with a apply gravity. Okay, to apply gravity, let's see. Let me increase my player underscore y-axis underscore velocity with my y-axis velocity with my gravity. Okay, and then this should be my enemy underscore. Yeah, I'm not used to writing enemy, guys. I'm so used to writing player. Okay, and then let me increase my enemy underscore rect dot y-axis by my enemy underscore rect enemy underscore y-axis underscore velocity. There we go. So basically, this code, okay, those are x-axes. This is y-axis. Okay. Now let's work on the landing. So for the landing, I'll add an if statement. If my, let's see, if my enemy underscore rect dot bottom is greater than or equal to my floor dot y-axis, my enemy underscore rect dot bottom is going to be equal to my floor dot y-axis, and then I will reset my gravity after fixing my typo. Okay, I will reset my y-axis velocity, so my enemy underscore rect, underscore y-axis underscore velocity is going to get back to 0. Alright, perfect. This should be unequal to. Okay, alright, perfect. Now let me go ahead and add my graphics. So for my graphics, let me go ahead and go with a screen.blit. I'll blit my player to my screen, basically my enemy. So my enemy underscore image, comma, enemy underscore rect. Then let me go ahead and draw my floor. So pygame.draw.rect. My floor is going to be a rectangle. Okay, there we go. Okay, now my floor's attributes. My floor surface is going to be my screen. My floor's color is going to be brown. Then let's see. Let me go with my floor's attributes. Alright. Next up, let me go with a screen.blit. Let me blit. Honestly, I think that was all to blit. Okay, now if I were to run the command, there's my enemy. My enemy can move right, left, although my enemy can jump. Did I? Okay, so those are my graphics. Okay, if enemy underscore rect dot bottom is greater than or equal to floor, my enemy underscore rect dot bottom equals to floor. Alright, so player underscore y-axis underscore velocity equals to jump strength. Oh, most likely, because if you guys see, my NPC is not really touching my floor here, honestly. He's above my floor, so I could decrease my enemy's position a little. Okay, 100 and 300. Maybe I decrease the position of my floor x-axis, y-axis. Let the y-axis be like 500. There. Okay, that's a pretty good floor. I feel like I'm messing with my okay, I probably messed up with this. If my keys at index of pygame.key space, if my space key is pressed and my enemy's Rectangle's bottom is greater than or equal to my floor's y-axis, my player underscore y-axis underscore velocity equals to jump strength. My enemy's y-axis velocity increases by my gravity, my enemy underscore rect underscore y-axis increases by my enemy y-axis velocity. Okay, and if my enemy underscore rect dot bottom is greater than or equal to my floor, okay. I see. Honestly, everything should be correct. Let me just check the reference. Okay, so my floor is running. Okay, this part is correct. That's correct. That's correct. Okay, honestly, everything's correct. What is something different that I did here? Let's see. Okay, so my player underscore y-axis underscore velocity. I created Rex for my player. I added gravity for my player. Is this positive or negative? So I added negative jump strength for my player. If I click space. Okay, my enemy Rex bottom. Da, da, da. Okay. Enemy image, enemy rect. If I run the command, okay, look at it, my enemy falls from the top, so I'm pretty sure something is wrong with this. My enemy underscore y-axis underscore velocity increases by my gravity. Then my enemy underscore rect underscore y-axis increases by my enemy's y-axis velocity. Okay, so that part's somewhere here. So let's see. Okay, player's y-axis velocity increases. So, okay, that part's correct. Then landing, if my player, okay, my player honestly doesn't land, it just pops up the top. So I added my floor, I added my RGB colors, I added my jump strength, my x-axis, y-axis, I added my player's position. Okay. Honestly, let me ask Sensei. Let's Control A, Control C. Get Sensei here. Paste it. I did a bunch of space, Sensei. Sensei, I messed up! Exclamations, and send it. Then maybe lubricate my lips. Yes, you did mess up, but that's exactly why we're here, to hammer your code until it's iron strong. Let's dissect your mistakes, soldier. Error 1, wrong variable. You wrote if keys at index of pygame dot key. I knew I messed up with my variables. Let me actually check if I'm audible. Okay, perfect. Error 2, tapping enemy in window incorrectly. Trapping enemy in window incorrectly. You wrote enemy underscore rect dot y-axis equals to okay, this ruins your gravity because now even when you're falling, you're clamping the enemy inside the window. Remove the y. Okay, because you already handle on floor. Okay, so enemy underscore rect underscore x-axis the fixed code parts. Okay, so let's say there. Alright, so firstly, the silly mistake that I added was this. I changed this to player. This should be my enemy. I don't have a player variable. Okay, now let's run the command and check. Okay, so my enemy does jump. Although, like Sensei did say to uh not have y here, instead have x here. Let's see if that works. Oh, my player is going slowly down. Oh, I see. This is like my player is gliding to space. Okay. Alright, so what happens if I don't have this line at all? There. Oh, okay, that does make sense because my player can't exit off the map right now without that y-axis, so both does work. Although I do want to add a small change. Let me actually ask Sensei how to rotate my player. Let me go Control A, Control C. Get Sensei here. Should take a quick look at trap. Okay, let's paste it at a bunch of spaces. Say, Sensei, what if I wanted to rotate my player every time he goes to the right, he faces the right, and when he goes to the left, he faces the left. Okay, let's see. Yes, that's a strong question, my warrior. Finally thinking like a game developer, not just a coder. If the enemy goes right, it should face the right. If it goes left, it should face the left. We'll do this by flipping the image horizontally when needed. Pygame.transform.flip, surface flip, x-axis flip, y-axis. X-axis, if flip x equals true, flips horizontally, flip y-axis true, flips vertically. So when moving right, uses the logic, uses the normal sprite. Okay, when moving left, flip horizontally, fixed logic, add a factor facing underscore right. Okay, then inside your movement code, okay, if keys at index of pygame dot right is true, right is false. Flip image on draw, instead of directly blitting the image, blitting enemy underscore image, do this. If face right, enemy image, okay. Else flipped image equals pygame.transform.flip enemy image true false blip flipped image. Okay, full graphics section, replace your drawing part with this. Okay, now your enemy will face the direction it's moving. This is how we bring life to character soldier art. So let me get Sensei there. Check if I'm audible real quick. Alright, perfect. Okay, so I gotta create a variable called facing right. This should be under my enemy details. Enemy details, actually. There we go. Okay, so let me go with facing underscore right. I'll set that equal to true. Excuse me, guys. Okay, I'll set that equal to true, and then if my keys at index of pygame.key is right, if my player is going to right, I'll set my flipped or facing right equals to true. Okay, and if it's left, I'll set my facing right equals to false. And then when I'm drawing my graphics, I'll go with, if I'll add this inside of it, if block, if my facing right, if that's set to true, I'll do that. Else I'll do something else. Let's see. Else I'll create a new variable called flipped underscore image, which is equal to pygame.transform flip. Okay, the surface is going to be my enemy image. Okay, and then a true and a false. Okay, I gotta ask, so flip, oh, okay, flip image, pygame.transform.flip, so x-axis true, y-axis false. It's not going to flip in y-axis, it's just going to be flipping in x-axis. Okay, then let me go ahead and add my screen.blit. Okay, I'll blit my flipped image, comma, my enemy underscore rect. Okay, and apparently this should change it. Okay. Although I gotta change some of my measurements. Let me change that to false. Change that to true. Or there. Okay, there we go. That does work pretty nicely. Nice. Okay, let's see everything that I did here. I created a variable called facing right. I set that to true. Honestly, I'll just set this to false because that's my player isn't facing right. I'll change that to true and change that to false. Okay, now if I run the command, it's going to be the same thing. No, it's not the same thing. Let me go with Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Okay, so I created a facing right, set that to true. Facing right, false, facing right, true. And then I went with an if statement. If my facing right, okay, honestly, let me go with the, let me change that to false again real quick. Okay, let me change this to true. Change that to false. Okay, and now I'll just change this to if not facing right. Okay, now this should fix it. There we go. Okay, so if not facing right, if my facing right is set to false, because my player isn't facing right, screen.blit, enemy image, enemy rect. Else, I'll create a new variable called flipped image, also that equal to pygame.transform.flip, enemy image, flip. X-axis is going to be true, y-axis is going to be false. Screen.blit, okay. With Control A, Control C, there we go. I do need more practice with this though. Let me go ahead and paste this, add a bunch of space and say, let's say, done, exclamation. Okay. Yo, good job, my student. You actually did it. The boss now faces the right way depending on movement. But listen carefully. You swap logic a little right now. Okay, when facing right, true, you flip the image. When facing right, false. You drew normal image. That means your boss is mirrored backwards. Corrected version. Small tweak. Let me say, say my image usually face the left, so I added a not to the if. This works perfectly. Okay, I see exactly what you did. You clever little warrior using not face right to invent the logic. Brilliant. That's exactly how a sensei would adjust for an image that starts facing left. You basically outsmarted the default orientation and your boss faces the right way every frame. This is the kind of small detail that separates amateurs from true gamer game coders. Next level tip from your sensei. Once you get multiple NPCs, you can use the same trick for all of them dynamically, but first I want you to practice this left-right flipping with gravity and flow a few more times to engrave it in your mind. Do you want me to give you a small practice exercise right now? Honestly, let me practice it by going here, go with Control A, delete this whole thing. Honestly, just I want to copy a small bit, just the RGB colors, because that's basically not like cheating copying the RGB colors, because I can get them. Like I have my RGB color, this thing here, picker here. I'm just way too lazy to pick my RGB colors. Okay, so let me start off by importing pygame. Then let me initialize pygame by typing pygame.init, and then add FPS. So for adding FPS, I'll create a clock variable, so that equal to pygame.time.clock. Okay, maybe I'll add a comment that says FPS controller, and then let me go ahead and add my display. So I'll create a width comma height variable, create two variables called width and height. My width is going to be 800, my height is going to be 600. Now to add my display, I'll go with a screen variable. I'll set that equal to pygame.display.set_mode. I'll set my mode inside of a tuple, which is going to be width variable and height variable. Okay, now let me go ahead and add a pygame.display.set_caption. I'll set a caption for my display. My caption is going to be gravity controller. There we go. Okay, and then let me go ahead and load my images in. So I'll load images. For loading my images, let's see. This time, what image do I want to load? Let me actually load my screen's image. No, I mean projectiles, maybe. Player projectile, enemy projectile. Honestly, let me just load my player image. Okay. I'll go with my player underscore image. I'll set that equal to something like pygame.image.load. I'll give the path for my player's image. So it's going to be my game items followed by 2 // followed by NPCs followed by 2 more / and my player PNG. I will convert it to alpha, so convert underscore alpha because it is a PNG. Then let me go ahead and create, actually I'll transform and scale it. Transform and scale my image. There we go. Okay, so I'll go ahead and define a scale function. I'll set that equal to image. I'll add 2 parameters. First is going to be image, second is going to be factor. My factor is going to be equal to 0.1, which is basically 10. So factor equals to 0.1. Okay, and then let me go ahead and return pygame.transform.scale. Okay, pygame.transform. Okay, so I want to scale my image parameter, and then my width and my height is going to be in a new line. Let me go with integer. I'll go with my image dot get underscore width. I'll get the width of my image and then I'll multiply it by my factor, which is 0.1, basically 10%. Then let me do the same thing again, but for my height. So integer is going to be my image dot get underscore height, and I'll multiply that with my factor again. Okay, now let me go ahead and reassign my player underscore image to be equal to invoke my scale function and add my image. So my player underscore image here. There we go. That should scale my image. And then let me go ahead and add my rex. Let me actually create rex now. Okay, so to create rex, I'll go with a new variable called player underscore rect. I'll set that equal to my player underscore image dot get underscore rect. Now the position is going to be top left, so basically the square could be anything in a tuple. I'll set the position. I'll go with 100 by 300. Okay, now let me go ahead and add my player details. So you're going to my player details. So my player underscore x-axis is going to be equal to, actually these are my player x-axes. I wouldn't need that. So I'll go with my player underscore, let's see, x-axis underscore velocity, which is going to be equal to 5 pixels per frame, and then my player underscore y-axis underscore velocity, which is going to be set to 0 for now. I will have a jump underscore strength as well, which is going to be negative, actually negative 10. Okay, I feel like I imported something. I knew I imported something. Okay, then let me go ahead and create a gravity variable. My gravity is going to be equal to 0.5. Okay, now let me create a floor's rectangle where my player is going to stand in. So I'll go with floor. I'll set floor equal to pygame.rect. Now add the x-axis, y-axis, width and height of my floor. My floor's x-axis could be 0, y-axis could be 200, width is going to be width. My width variable, height is going to be 300. Okay, there we go. And now let me go ahead and add my game loop. Honestly, before my game loop, I feel like I need let me paste that. These are my RGB colors. So yeah, this was basically all that I needed. Now let me go ahead and add my game loop. For my game loop, I'll create a is underscore running boolean variable. I'll set that to true and then add a while loop. So while is underscore running, while my program is running or while my is running is set to true, I will do something. I will add FPS, so I'll use my clock variable, use the dot tick function and add 60. This is basically going to be 60 frames per second. Maybe I'll add a comment that says FPS. Now let me iterate over my Pygame event. So I'll create a event loop, then iterate over my Pygame event. So for every event in my Pygame.event.get, this gets all my Pygame events, but I'm looking for a specific one. So I'll look for a specific one using an if statement. If my events type equals to Pygame.quit, capitalized or uppercase quit, then fix my typo. Okay, if my event.type equals Pygame.quit, I'll set my is underscore running boolean variable to be equal to false. Okay, and then let me go ahead and add a Pygame.display.flip. This is going to update my display. I could use Pygame.display or update, both works the same, and then go with a Pygame.quit. Alright, now let me go ahead and fill my screen. So I'll go with a screen.fill, and I'll add the parameter as my blue variable here. Okay, next let me add my player movement. For my player movement, I'll create a keys variable, so that equals to Pygame.key.get underscore pressed. There we go. Then I'll add an if statement, pressed. There we go. Okay, and then I'll add a bunch of if statements. If my keys at index of Pygame.k is right, if my right key is pressed, I will increase my player underscore rect dot x-axis, my player's x-axis, by my player underscore x-axis underscore velocity, and then I will go up here under my player details and I will create a new variable called facing underscore right. I'll set that equal to true for now. Okay, and this time my player will be facing right, so I'll say my facing right equals to true. Then I'll go with the left side. So if my keys at index of Pygame.key is left, if my left key is pressed, I will decrease my player underscore rect dot y-axis by my player underscore rect, my player underscore x-axis underscore velocity. And then I will set my facing underscore right to be false. Okay, and then let me go with my keys. So if my keys at index of Pygame.k is space, if my space bar is pressed, and my player underscore rect dot bottom, my player's bottom, there we go, is greater than or equal to my floor's y-axis, I will set my player underscore y-axis underscore velocity to be equal to my jump speed or my jump strength. There we go. I'm pretty sure I don't got it with facing here. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and trap my player in window. Okay, so I'll go with my player underscore rect dot x-axis. I'll set that equal to max, which is going to be set to 0, min, which is going to have my player underscore rect dot x-axis comma 800, my horizontal window size, minus my player underscore rect dot width. Okay, I won't add it for the y-axis. It's the same thing if I add it or not, because my player isn't going to leave the screen, so he won't even reach to the tip of my screen. Okay, and then let me go ahead and apply gravity. To apply gravity, I'm going to increase my player underscore y underscore velocity by my gravity. Okay, and then I will increase my player underscore rect dot y-axis. I'll increase my player's y-axis by my player underscore y underscore velocity. And now for my landing. Okay, there we go. If my player underscore rect dot y-axis is my player's y-axis, honestly it should be bottom. If my player's bottom is greater than or equal to my floor dot y-axis, I will set my player underscore rect dot bottom to be equal to my floor. This basic floor dot y-axis, this basically means if my player floor dot y-axis, okay, this basically means that if my player y-axis, like if my player's foot or my shoes, it goes under my surface, my floor, then it gets back up to my floor, so it can go under my floor, if that made any sense. And then I will reset my player underscore y-axis underscore velocity to be equal to 0. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and add graphics. For my graphics, let me go with a screen.blitz. I'm going to blitz my cool code in C, Novem plus Zest plus TMUX. Honestly, yeah, I was planning to learn C after my Python 100A series. I'm still going to be working on Python, but I was going to learn like C, C++, and the C languages. Okay, here I'm just trying to get a good grasp on the gravity concept. Okay, so for my screen.blitz, I will add a if statement though. If my facing right, if my player is facing right, I will blitz my player as he is. So screen.blitz, I will go with my player underscore image, comma player underscore rect. Else, I will create a new variable called, let's see, what was my new variable called? I could keep it anything, like facing underscore left. My facing left variable is going to be equal to pygame.transform.flip, I'll add a comma, flip, then fix my typo. Okay, so what do I want to flip? I want to flip my player underscore image true and false. There we go. Okay. Alright, now let me go ahead and blitz my outside my loop most likely. Let me go with a pygame.draw.rect. I'll draw a rectangle. I want it to be on my screen, the surface to be my screen, the color to be brown. Okay, and lastly, my floors attribute. So I'm drawing my floor here. Now if I would run the command, there's my floor. Maybe I should change my floor's position to go a little deeper. I can change that to like 500 maybe. Okay, there we go. My left disappears my character. Okay, my jump logic works. My left key kinda disappears my character. Facing right, true. Facing left, false. Okay, let me check the reference for this. I'm pretty sure I messed up this part. Oh, okay. I forgot to blit anything in my screen. So this is screen.blit. So it's fixed image, flipped image. Okay, so I forgot the name of my variable. So flipped image and my enemy rect. Okay, yeah, no wonder I didn't blit anything here. Let me go with screen.blit. Maybe change this to flipped underscore image. So I'll go with flipped image, comma, player underscore rect. Okay, now if I run forwards, it faces forwards, run backwards, it faces backwards, but it keeps jumping. Okay, most likely it's here. This should be x-axis. There we go. There and there. Okay, that looks pretty good. And my player can jump as well. Jump as well. Okay, nice. And now what I did, I'm going to be doing it again. I need more practice with this. Let me go with Control A, delete this whole thing, but before that I will go up here and copy my RGB colors because I can look it up online, but I want to write it. Okay, so let me go ahead and import Pygame again for the 5th or 6th time. Initialize Pygame by tapping pygame.init. Okay, this time honestly I might add collision as well. Okay, let me create an FPS controller. So clock equals to pygame.time.clock, capitalize clock. Maybe I'll add a comment that says FPS controller. Okay, there we go. Then let me go ahead and add my displays. For my display, I'll create a width and height variables. I'll set that equal to 800 and 600. And then I'll drink some water. I'm real thirsty, guys. I just came from like college, so I couldn't like, like work out. That's why I'm not that energetic right now. Alright, so I'll create a screen variable. I'll set that equal to pygame.display.set underscore mode. I'll set my display, my mode inside a tuple. My width is going to be my width variable. My height is going to be my height variable. There we go. And then let me add a caption. So I'll go with a pygame.display.set underscore caption. I'll set my caption to something like gravity or dodge the enemy. Okay, and then I will go ahead and load my images. So load images. To load my images, my first image is going to be my player underscore image, which is going to be equal to pygame.image.load. Then I'll give the path to my player image. So I'll go with my games item followed by two forward slashes, NPCs followed by two more, excuse me guys, forward slashes, and then my player PNG. Guys, give me a sec real quick. Let me just do something. Go here, say okay. Guys, I just had to like message somebody real quick. Alright, and I will convert this to alpha because it's a PNG. And then let me go ahead and add my enemy underscore image. I'll set that equal to pygame.image.load. I'll give my enemy image path. So my game items followed by two forward slashes, NPCs followed by two more forward slashes. I'm pretty sure it's called boss PNG. I will convert this to alpha because it's a PNG as well. Okay, there we go. Alright, and next up, let me go ahead and let me actually transform and scale my images. To transform and scale my images, okay, I'll define a function called scale. So I'll define a scale function. My scale function is going to be having two parameters. The first one is going to be image. The second one is going to be factor, which is going to be 0.1, basically 10%. And then I will return pygame.transform.scale. I want to scale my image parameter, comma. My size is going to be in a tuple. I'll go in a new line. I'll type an integer and I'll go with my image.get underscore height. I'll get the height of my image. Actually, first let me go with width. I'll get the width of my image and then I'll multiply that by my factor, which is 0.1. I'll go with a comma and do that again for height this time. So I'll go with image.get underscore height and then I'll multiply that with my factor. Alright, perfect. Now let me go ahead and reassign my player underscore image to be equal to invoke my scale function and add my player underscore image parameter. And let me do the same thing with my enemy underscore image. I'll set that equal to invoke my scale function and add the parameter as my enemy image. Okay, perfect. And now let me create Rex. So I'll first create my player underscore rect. I'll set that equal to my player underscore image dot get underscore rect. The position of my image is going to be top left. I'll set that equal to a position. So I'll go with 100 by 300 for my player. Next up, let me create my enemy underscore rect. I'll set that equal to my player underscore, my enemy underscore rect dot get. This is going to be enemy underscore image, my bad guys. My enemy underscore image dot get underscore rect. The position is going to be top left as well. I'll set that equal to a tuple 500 by 300. Okay, I feel it looks much better without the space. Alright, now that I created Rex, I actually might create masks because I'm going with pixel perfect collision. So go with create masks as well. So I'll go with my player underscore mask. which is going to be equal to pygame.mask.from_surface. Okay, my surface is going to be my player underscore image. I'll do the same thing with my enemy underscore mask. I'll set that equal to pygame.masks.from_surface. Okay, and my surface is gonna be this needs to be equals to, my surface is gonna be my enemy underscore image. Maybe I'll add a pair of parentheses here that says for pixel perfect collision. Okay, there we go. Now let me go ahead and add my player details. For my player details, I'll go with my player underscore x underscore velocity, my player's x-axis velocity, which is honestly, I might just go with a dictionary here. I always do this manually, so I'll go with player equals to a dictionary. The x-axis is gonna be let's see, my player's x-axis is actually x-axis velocity is going to be 5 pixels per frame. My player's y-axis velocity is going to be set to 0. Then my player's jump strength is going to be set to -10. Okay, these are basically all the parameters I need for my player. Let me go up here and create gravity. So a gravity variable which is going to be set to 0.5, and also a collision variable which is going to be set to false because I haven't collided with anyone yet. Alright, next up, let me go ahead and add my enemy details. And let me honestly create a dictionary for my enemy as well. So enemy equals to a dictionary. My enemy's x-axis velocity is going to be 5 pixels per frame. My enemy's y-axis velocity is going to be 5 pixels per frame as well. My enemy doesn't need a jump strength because he won't jump. So honestly, for now, x-axis and y-axis velocity is all I need. Then let me go ahead and create a floor for my enemy and my player to stand on. So I'll create a floor variable, set that equal to pygame.rect. There we go. Okay, so my rect is going to have my positions. Let's see. So my floor is, the x-axis is going to be 0, the y-axis is going to be 200. Then my width is going to be my player's width. My height is going to be, I don't know, like 400. Let me, give me a sec, guys. Let me message. I think I got a message. There we go. Okay, perfect. Alright, and then let me go ahead and add my game loop now. So game loop, and under my player details, I honestly might add a face or facing right equals to true for now. Okay, and for my enemy, I'll go with a facing underscore right, which is going to be equal to false. Okay, now for my game loop, I'll create a is underscore running boolean variable. I'll set that equal to true and then add a while loop. So while is underscore running, while my program is running or while my is running is set to true, I will add FPS. So my clock variable dot tick is going to be set to 60, and maybe I'll add FPS, so 60 frames per second. Now let me iterate over my Pygame event. So I'll create a event loop and go with for every event in my pygame.event.get. This, excuse me guys, this basically gets all my Pygame events. I look for a specific type of event. If my event dot type equals to pygame.quit, all uppercase quit. Okay, go with game, check if I'm audible. Okay, I will set my is underscore running boolean variable to be equal to false. And then lastly, I will go with a pygame.display.flip. This updates my display. Pygame.display.update would work the same as well. Then I'll go with a pygame.quit. And maybe add my RGBs, this thing as well. Okay, now let me go ahead and fill my screen. So I'll go with a screen.fill. I want to fill my screen to be the blue color. Okay, and then let me go ahead and add a comment that says player movement. Let me add my player movement. So I'll create a keys variable to add my player movement. Set that equal to pygame.key dot get underscore pressed. There we go. Then let me add a bunch of if statements. If my keys at index of pygame.key is right, if my right key is pressed, I will increase my player underscore rex x-axis by my player at index of x-axis velocity. And I'll set my facing right to be equal to true. Okay, and if my keys at index of pygame.key is left, if my left key is pressed, I will decrease my player underscore rex dot x-axis, or maybe I copied that, delete it there, go here, paste it here, there we go. I will decrease my player underscore rect dot x-axis by my player at index of x-axis velocity. And lastly, if my keys at index of pygame.key is space, if my space bar is pressed, okay, and my player underscore rect dot y-axis, actually dot bottom, my player's bottom is greater than or equal to my floor's y-axis. I will fix my typo and then set my player underscore y-axis or player at index of y-axis velocity to be equal to my jump speed, my jump strength. Let me delete that. Okay, there we go. Equals to my jump strength. So let me go with a jump strength variable. Equals to my player at index of jump strength. Okay, and I will copy this and paste it there just in case I spelled it wrong. Okay, and then let me trap my player in window so my player doesn't exit the window. For trapping my player in the window, I'll go with my player underscore rect dot x-axis. I will set that equal to max. Max is going to be 0. Honestly, I always go with 0. Let me go with negative 50 this time. Negative 50. The min is going to be my player underscore rect dot x-axis comma 800, my horizontal window size, minus my player underscore rect dot width. There we go. And now let me automate my NPC. That was all I needed for my player, honestly. Let me go with automate NPC. To automate basically means move my NPCs automatically. So to automate my NPC, I'll go with my enemy at index of x-axis or enemy underscore rect dot x-axis is going to increase by my enemy at index of x velocity, and my enemy underscore rect dot y-axis is going to increase by my enemy at index of y-axis velocity. Okay, now let me add bounce to my NPC. So bounce NPC. Basically, my NPC won't be able to leave the window as well. So I'll add an if statement. If my enemy at enemy underscore rect dot x-axis is greater than or equal to, let's see, let's go with negative 50. Greater than or equal to negative 50, or my enemy underscore rect dot x-axis, this should be less than, so if it's less than or equal to negative 50, or my enemy underscore rect dot x-axis is greater than or equal to 800, my window size minus my enemy underscore rect dot width. Okay, I will go with my enemy at index of x-axis velocity. I'll multiply that, so asterisk equals to -1, and I will remove the y-axis because I don't want my NPC to be bouncing all over the screen. I just want him to go in one path. Okay, so if I would run the command, honestly nothing would work because I didn't add my graphics. Let me go ahead and add graphics. For my graphics, I'll go with an if statement. If my player, okay, if my player underscore rect dot y-axis dot x-axis is okay, hold up. If my player, what was that called? If my facing right is set to true, I will go with screen.blit my player underscore image and my player underscore rect. There we go. Let me go with an else. I'll create a new variable called player flipped. I'll set that equal to pygame dot transform dot flip. I'll keep the first one to true, the second one to false. The surface is going to be my screen. Okay, this is going to be true, that's going to be false. Honestly, I feel this is going to be my player underscore image. That makes more sense for the surface. Okay, there we go. Okay, let me add another if statement. If my enemy, so did I add one for enemy? Okay, so that's facing right. Let me go with facing right. So that's player facing right. That's gonna be my enemy facing right. Okay, let me fix my variables here and go with my player underscore facing right. Okay, equals to true, and my, let me copy that. Go here, paste it, equals to false. Alright, and I will change this variable as well to my, if my player is facing right, I screen out the regular player, else if my player is facing left, I do that. Okay, if my enemy is facing right, I go with a enemy flipped. There we go. I'll set that equal to pygame dot transform dot flip. This time my enemy underscore image. Excuse me, guys. Comma true, comma false. Okay, there we go. Alright, so let me go to the new line and go with screen.blit. Let me blit my enemy flipped, comma, go with my enemy underscore rect. Then go with an else. So else screen.blit my enemy underscore image and my enemy underscore rect. Alright, perfect. And lastly, let me go with a screen.blit. Actually, not screen.blit. Pygame.draw. So I'll go with a pygame. Maybe this should be inside my if statement. I meant pygame.draw.rect. I'll draw it rect. This is for my floor. I want my floor surface to be my screen. I want the color to be brown. And my attribute to be my floor's attribute. Okay, there we go. Now if I run the command, okay, my floor is way too high. I can't even see my NPCs. Let me decrease my floors. X-axis, Y-axis. I'll change that to 200. The height. There we go. Now get this a bit lower to like 50. Okay, actually 300. 400. Alright, perfect. There we go. So my NPC moves around, but my NPC doesn't flip. I want him to flip. So I could honestly go with if my NPC flip NPC enemy rect. Okay, does my player flip? Okay, my player kind of disappears. So if my player's facing right, screen dot blit. Oh, I forgot to blit my screen, my enemy, or my player here. Let me go here and create another variable called player underscore flipped, which is going to be set to pygame.transform.flip. Okay, I want the surface to be my player underscore image and my flip x to be true, flip y to be false. There. Now if I run the command, my player flips when he moves. I again forgot to blit my player. Oh, I already have my player existing. I just gotta blit him. So let me go ahead and blit my player. So I'll go with screen.blit my player underscore flipped, comma, my player underscore rect. There we go. Okay, now if I run the command, now my player is gonna flip around. There we go. So my player flips around. Okay, now I gotta do the same thing with my enemy. Okay, if enemy what if I get this here? Copy that, delete that, delete that. There. Else. Paste. Okay, now my enemy is turned backwards. If not, oh, I just realized something. Okay, my automate NPC section. So my NPC goes to right, so I'll set my enemy facing right to be equal to true. Now if I run the command, my enemy faces right. Okay, what if I change this to false? There, that's kind of correct. Now I just flip that down here. Oh, this should be false. That should be true. Okay, now if I run the command. Okay, never mind, that didn't work. Why am I messing up? Screen.blitz, enemy flipped, enemies wrecked. Huh. Let me remove the knot. Oh my gosh, why is my enemy upside down? Is this for upside down enemy? Am I going with the y-axis? Let's go with true. Let me change that to true. Change that to false. Oh yeah, my y-axis should be false. I'm not going with my y-axis. There. Let's change that to true. Maybe I need two. Okay. And then my enemy facing right equals to false. There. That should work. True. False for a split second. That goes for a split second. Okay, maybe outside this. But if I go outside, that wouldn't make any sense. Okay, I increase my velocity. This is for my bounce. Okay. Honestly, What if I were to copy this? If not, okay, so let me copy this. Go with a if not false, else true. This thing, let me change it to true. That, let me change it to false. Does this work? Okay, it doesn't. Okay, let's just go with a bunch of control Z's then in that case. Be another. Okay, actually, let me ask Sensei. Let's go with Control A, Control C. Get Sensei here. Paste it, add a bunch of spaces and say, Sensei, I want the NPC to change locations as well, dot dot dot. But I don't know how to do that. Can you help me? Question mark. Okay, and then let me check if I'm audible. Okay, perfect. Alright, oh, now we're talking warrior. You want your NPC to move not just left/right, but also up and down. Maybe like a little bouncing menace. I got you. No, I want. No, Sensei. I want my NPC to turn left and right like how my player does. Oh, and now I guess you want your NPC to flip horizontally depending on its movement direction like your player. Listen carefully because we'll keep it clean and precise. Right now your NPC is moving horizontally and you already have enemy underscore facing underscore right set, but you're not updating it correctly when it bounces. That's why it might face the wrong way sometimes. Here's the correct approach. Okay, I did actually try this. If my enemy underscore x-axis underscore velocity is greater than 0, enemy facing right, true, else enemy facing wrong, true. Keep your bounce logic. The beauty here, you don't need to manually flip enemy facing right inside the bounce. It will automatically update next frame. Oh, okay. But flip with if enemy, are you 17? Yeah, I'm 17 years. Okay, blit with flip. If enemy underscore facing underscore right, screen dot blit. Okay, yeah, I did this part correct. Pro tip: don't flip every frame unnecessarily. Just check enemy facing right. Okay, let's actually do that. So the thing where I messed up was this place. Okay, so that part sure was basically like if my enemy at index of, okay, so this is track horizontal. I might need a separate line for this. So let me go ahead and add a separate line that says horizontal direction or track enemy location. Okay, to track my enemy location, I'll go with if my enemy at index of if my enemy at index of x velocity is greater than 0, there we go, my enemy facing right is gonna be set to true, else my enemy facing right is gonna be set to false. Okay, now if I run the command, bonk, perfect. I just gotta change this to false and that to true because it also depends on which side your enemy's PNG actually faces. There we go. There. Okay, now let me go ahead and add collision logic. Back honestly hurts. Let me check if I'm audible. Okay, perfect. Alright, now let me add collision logic, but before that, let me fix something for my NPC. 800, I'll change this to 850. Okay, now my enemy goes completely till there. Buck. Perfect. Although I do want to change something else, a tiny bit of tweak. Let's see. Excuse me, guys. That's track my enemy location, bounce enemy, graphics. Oh, what did I want to change? What did I want to change? Okay, there we go. My enemy is wrecked. Right here. I don't want him to spawn at 500. I want him to spawn at 600. Okay, if I look carefully, my enemy goes back first. What if I go with 700? Okay, I guess he spawns at 600. But I want my enemy to spawn at 600. Where's my enemy's location? Okay, automate. Alright, that's my automating NPC plus equals to. What if I go with minus equals? Okay, perfect. Now let me just change this to true. There we go, and that to false. Alright, now I'm just going to be moving. Yep, there's not that glitch anymore. I found a tiny bit of glitch here. Did you guys see that glitch? That felt pretty glitchy. See again. A little glitch here. Okay, there wasn't a glitch. That was probably my PC. Okay, next up, let me add collision logic. So before my graphics, I'll go ahead and add a comment that says collision detection. For the collision detection, since it's going to be pixel perfect collision, I'll go with offset underscore x-axis, which is going to be equal to, let's see, my enemy underscore rect dot x-axis minus my player underscore rect dot x-axis, and my offset underscore y, my y-axis offset is going to be my enemy underscore rect dot y-axis minus my player underscore rect dot y-axis, and then I'll create a overlap variable. I'll set that equal to an if statement. Actually, not if statement. I'll just go with player dot rect. Actually, player dot mask. Did I create a mask for my player? Oh, it should player underscore mask. Never mind. Okay, if my player underscore mask dot overlap, if my player mask overlaps with my enemy underscore mask at this given offset of offset underscore x-axis and offset underscore y-axis, I will do something. Let me add an if statement. So if overlap, if my overlap is true, and if not collision, if my collision is set to true as well, I will print boom collided. Okay, else I will print I won't print anything. I'll set my collision to be equal to false and my collision to be equal to true here. Alright, perfect. Now every time my players collide, it says boom collided, boom collided, boom collided, boom collided. Okay, perfect. But instead of just setting my collision to be false, I want to do something. I want to add my different screens. So these are my different screens. I will go here. Under my RGB colors, I'll add a comment that says game over, or I'll go with game end or game lost. Okay, for my game lost, I'll create a screen. So I'll go with lost screen or lose screen. Lose screen is going to be equal to pygame.image.load. I'll give the path to my file path to my screen. So this is going to be my game items. followed by my screens, followed by my loose screen PNG. I will only convert this, not alpha because it's not a PNG. I'll just convert it and then I'll go with a pygame dot transform dot scale. I want to transform and scale my loose screen image, my loose screen, comma. The size is going to be, honestly, the size is going to be, let's see, my width and height. So in a tuple, I'll go with my width and height. Okay, then I'll create a variable called game over. I'll set that equal to false for now because my game isn't over. Okay, and then after I fill my screen, honestly, before I fill my screen, let me go ahead and create an if statement. If not, game over. If my game over, excuse me guys, is not set to false, if my game over is set to true, honestly I feel that part is kind of wrong. I'm going to indent all this inside of my game over loop, my if not game over, else I'll do something else. Let me go here, go with an else. Honestly, I might go with an else if because I might add a win as well. So excuse me guys, I'll go with else if and do this. Else if game over. Okay, honestly, this should be not, and that should be just game over. There we go. Let me set my game over to be true. Honestly, never mind, the old one was pretty good. Okay, let me add a not here, not, and lastly remove the not. Okay, there we go. If game over, I will do something. Let me go with screen.blit. I will blit my game over screen. So it's called, what's it called? Loose screen. Loose screen at the position of 0 and 0. Okay, that's basically all that I need. Let me run the command. Oh, I forgot. Let me go here and set my game underscore over to be equal to false. True. There. Okay, it says you lost. So let me go ahead and remove the not from here. Add a not here. There. Now if I run the command, it says you lost. What if I go with an else? Else that's pop. Okay, maybe I remove the not from here. I mean add a not here. If not, game over. Game is not over. It just prints this. I gotta go with a pygame dot transform dot scale. Pygame dot transform dot scale. I want to transform my loose screen. Honestly, isn't my loose screen already transformed here? I did transform it here to be the size of my width and my height. Game over, false, because my game isn't over. If not game over, if my game over is not set to false. Type error, function missing required. What line was it? Line 131. Let's go to my line 131. There. Okay, I don't need this. It says you lost. Okay, actually, let me ask Sensei. Let's go with Control A, Control C. Get Sensei here. paste it. Add a bunch of space, Sensei. Sensei, when my player loses, I want him to get I want to show the lose screen. It doesn't work, honestly. I see exactly what you Vivek. You've got the logic completely flipped in your if game over part. Listen carefully because I'm going to break it down so you don't waste time like this again. The issue, if game over, screen.fill blue, else, okay. Notice it says if game over is true, run the command. And only when it's false you show the lose screen. That's exactly the opposite of what you want. If overlap, if not collision, game over is true. You're saying if the part is not colliding, the game ends. That's backwards. How to fix it? Okay. Why? I need to add a game over true here as well. Game ends here. Okay, if not game over, run the game. Okay. Alright, I see. Let's get Sutsai there. Chat disconnected. Please wait while chat tries to reconnect. Guys, is the chat like... Is something messed up with the chat? Okay, never mind. Okay, honestly, the only thing I did wrong was this. Let me go with game underscore over equals to true, else game over equals to false. Okay. Now if I run the command. Okay, so if game over, fill my screen, do all this. If collided, collision true, game over true, game over false. Okay, it said that I completely flipped the collision logic. So, if not game over, there, if I touch, okay, then it says game over. If I jump, I forgot to jump, guys. My jump doesn't work, guys. What happened to my keys? If keys, space, y velocity. Okay. Honestly, what's wrong with my location? Lose screen. Did I reassign it when I transformed? Okay, I didn't reassign it, no wonder. Lose screen. There. Now if I touch them, you lost. Okay. Game over false. Although my this logic isn't working, my player y velocity equals to my player's jump strength. Player's jump strength is -10, so I should practically jump. Okay, let's copy that. Get Sutsui back here. Paste is at a bunch of space, Sensei. It works, although my player doesn't jump when I hit the space key. Okay, Albivik, I see exactly why your player won't jump. You're overriding your jump logic or never actually applying it to the Y position. Look carefully. This part, you set the velocity, but you never actually added player to player vector. I did that, right? Anywhere in your loop. I'm pretty sure I did it here, like in my gravity update, like what you call it? Where is it? So wait, didn't I like add it? I didn't even apply my gravity. Oh my gosh, there's no way I forgot to apply gravity. Okay, let me go ahead and apply gravity. Okay, to apply my gravity, let's see. I will increase my player underscore rect dot y-axis with my gravity. Okay, and then I will increase my player underscore rect dot y-axis by my this is going to be my player underscore y-axis underscore velocity, or player at index of y velocity. Okay, and then I'll increase my player index, my player underscore vector y-axis by my player at index of y velocity. Okay, that basically adds my gravity. Now let me focus on my, now let me add my landing. There we go. For my landing, I'll add an if statement. If my player underscore rect dot bottom, if my player's bottom is greater than or equal to my enemy, my floor dot y-axis, I will set my player underscore rect dot bottom to be equal to my floor dot y-axis, and then I will reset my player underscore y, actually player at index of y underscore velocity to be equal to 0. Okay, now my player should jump. There we go. There was no way I actually forgot that. There we go. So my player jumps. I gotta increase my jump strength. That was like that was kind of small jump. Let me go with 15 pixels. Okay, now my player should easily jump over my NPC, but that wouldn't hardly add any challenge. So okay, maybe I change this to 12. That gonna be more of a challenge? Okay, that definitely seems more of a challenge. What if I go with 11? Now if I run the command, bump. Okay, that's definitely a challenge. Okay, now let me, honestly, I wanna add scores as well. I wanna add a win screen. So let me go ahead and add a win game 1 or 1 game. So for winning a game, let me go with a win screen, which is going to be equal to pygame.image.load. I'll give my win screens file path. So game items followed by 2 forward slashes, my screens followed by 2 more forward slashes, and win screen. I will just convert this, not convert to alpha because this is not a PNG. Then I'm going to transform my image. I'll go with win screen equals to pygame.transform.scale. My win screen is going to transform. I want to transform my win screen. The position, the size is going to be my width and my height. And I'll add a variable that says game 1. Game 1 equals to false. I haven't won the game yet as well. If not, game over. Okay. I will add one more if statement here that says oh, that's set to false as well. So if not game underscore 1, I need to add a condition that says game 1. Okay, so if game 1 actually, if game 1 if game 1 is set to true, set to false, so not game 1. Okay, if not game 1, I will do all this, else. Can I add another else like this? Let me go with pass. Okay, it's not legal to add an else like this. Maybe I change this to else if. Let's see. Maybe I copy that. Oh, where's it gone? Copy that, delete this from here, go down. Bro, you're forgetting one important thing, object-oriented programming. You're applying it and it's really important. Honestly, yeah, I was actually gonna start with object-oriented programming like after I mastered like gravity. So after gravity, I was gonna move to object-oriented programming. That would make life so much easier. Okay, let me go with another if statement. So Actually, let me paste this. If not game one, I do that code. Honestly, I never added two screens. I might have to ask Sensei for help. Let me go with Control A, Control C. Let me just check if I'm audible. There we go. Let's get Sensei here. There we go. Paste this at a bunch of space, Sensei. Uh, I wanted to add a windscreen as well. If my player's score is more than 10, although okay, yeah, let's just set that. Oh, like finally you're thinking like a game dev, but listen up. You don't even have a score variable tracking anything right now. You can't trigger it. Then honestly, yeah, I was gonna say, although I didn't add a score variable yet, but like never mind. Add a score variable at the start, editor, increment, if not collision. Okay, you can choose your condition. Maybe every time the game crosses. Okay, I know the condition. Okay, if game one, screen dot lit, your normal logic here. Important, you need separate flags for game over, game lost. Stop updating player slash enemy position if either flag is true. If you want, I can rewrite your full code, so it includes uh let's say I just need help with the position, like where to add my if block code if my player wins the game. Oh wait, listen carefully. You don't just sprinkle it anywhere. It has a very specific place in the loop or your win screen won't ever show. Okay, here's the logic. Update the score somewhere in your game logic. Okay, I know how to add score. Check if win condition. Da, da, da. Okay, game 1 set to true. At the very start, show the win screen at the very start of the main loop. If game 1, essential, put this if game 1 block before any player slash enemy updates that frame, so nothing moves while the win screen is displayed. Don't mix it with game over. They're separate flags. I think I think I understand. I think I understand what this means. You should have learned it earlier. Honestly, yeah, I did like learn object oriented programming, but I didn't learn it with Pygames because I wanted to like go through some basics real quick. Okay, although I am definitely gonna learn that. I have like what you call it, like 18 more days or like 19 more days. Okay. Screen, blue screen. Let me go ahead and add a RGB, game lost, game won, a score variable. I'll go with score and then create a score variable. So score equals to 0. Okay, and after my collision logic, which is right here, else game over. And collision, actually. Let me go with count score. So I remember I needed a separate if statement for this. Count score. Okay, if my player underscore rex dot y-axis is greater than or equal to my actually is greater than my enemy underscore rex dot top, or actually and my player underscore rex dot bottom. Should this, okay, this should actually be bottom. Okay, if my player underscore rec dot bottom is greater than my enemy rec dot top and my player underscore rec dot bottom Should this be right? Do I like have a reference code for this part? Okay, perfect. Because I forgot this part, not this part. Floor collision. Okay, I don't think that is the correct one. There is no score for this. What if I jump? Okay, there is no score for this. It's the wrong one. What about this? This doesn't have the score as well. This doesn't have the score. Huh. Did I like delete my code? I do got okay, you know what? Let's try it. Let's try it. Okay. And my player underscore rect dot right is less than my enemy underscore rect dot left. Is this how it works? Then my score increases by 1. Then I'll need font as well. Okay, let me go ahead and create a font variable. So font equals to pygame.font. Okay, I'll set my font to none, so it's the default Pygame's font, and the size to something like 36. Okay, and then let me go ahead and blitz or in the graphics add a font graphics. Okay, so let me go with the Pygame or screen underscore text or score underscore text. My score text is going to be equal to pygame.font, or actually font.render. My font variable dot render. Okay, so I'll need a f string. Let me add an f string here. So this is going to be my text. Score is going to be score. Let me set my entalysis. Is that how you pronounce it? Entalysis to be true, and then my position to be at 1010. Okay, now if I run the command, line 153, invalid color. Oh, okay, text. Oh, this should be color. My bad, guys. I thought this was supposed to be my position. I didn't even blur it in my screen. That's gonna be 255, and 255 a white color. Now let me blit it. So I'll go with screen.blit my score underscore text at position of 1010. Copy that, delete that, go there, add a tuple, paste it. Okay, at dest. So, oh my gosh, my score increases so quick. Okay, something messed up. I knew that my, my count score is messed up. So let me go Control A, Control C. Because honestly, I didn't work much on my count score stuff. Bro, Pygame is just a library. All the programming fundamentals and object-oriented concepts can be applied in it. And it's actually really simple to use, man. Honestly, I might use it next stream then. Because I did have to like learn about object-oriented programming in Pygame. So that's actually probably going to be my next stream's topic. Let me say, let's say, my score seems kind of messed up, ... Okay. I want my player to get a point every time he jumps over my enemy. Okay, oh Vivek, I see exactly what's going wrong. You're trying to add points every frame. Your player is somewhere relative to enemy, but that's being calculated. Okay, but that's being calculated every single frame. So you're adding dozens of points in the same jump. That's why your score is exploding. Here's how to fix it. Correct approach to jump over enemy scoring. Okay. Excuse me, guys. Track if the player has already scored for this jump. Only give points when the player crosses the enemy's X position from left to right or right to left. Add this at the top of your player details. Player has scored equals false, and inside your game loop after movement and collision, Check if player has jumped over enemy. If not, player has scored. Okay, player under. Okay, this was the part that was confusing me. So the formula part is if my player underscore rec dot bottom is greater than, is less than or equal to my enemy rec dot top. If my player's bottom is less than or equal to my enemy's top, and my player's center x, I never learned about the center x, is greater than my enemy rec center x. Score plus equals to 1, player scored. Okay, reset after landing, so the next jump he can score again if player underscore rec dot bottom. Okay, I see. Key points: player underscore rec dot bottom is less than or equal to enemy underscore rec dot top, ensures that the player is above the enemy. If player underscore rec dot center x is greater than my enemy underscore rec dot center x, ensures that the player has passed over the enemy. Reset has scored on landing. I see. Nice then. Okay, let me actually check if I'm kind of audible because I forgot to charge my mic again. Or I like forgot. I don't remember if I charged my mic. Let me get this. Let me get Sensei there. Now, after my collision logic, I gotta add this. Before my player details, first I gotta go up here. In my player details, there I go with a scored variable. That score, okay, 0. My player details. Let me go with a boolean. So has underscore scored is gonna be set to false because my player hasn't scored yet. Maybe a comma. Okay, and then under my collision logic, this is the part that kind of got me. Okay, so an if statement. So if not, player at index of has underscore scored. If my player hasn't not scored yet, okay, or if my player has scored is set to true, I'll go with if my player underscore rec dot bottom, if my player's bottom is less than or equal to my enemy underscore rec dot top, my enemy's top, or my player underscore center x, but player underscore rec dot center x, okay, is greater than my enemy underscore rec dot center x, okay, I will increase my score by 1. Score plus equals to 1, and my player at index of has scored is going to be equal to true. Oh, so it's the same as my whatchamacallit, my game loop, like my collision logic. Else my player at index of has scored is going to be equal to false. Now if I run the command, I lost. Guys, I'm so bad with this thing. Let's try to win. Okay, my player gets a lot of points up there. Okay, I'm pretty sure I messed up some of this part. Center X. Okay, has scored. Pretty sure this should be right and that should be left instead of the center X. Okay, maybe center X, that's going to be center X. Okay, let's go with Control A, Control C, get Sensei back here. Space decided, bunch of space, Sensei. When I'm at the right of the screen, I get a lot of score, like 60 scores per second. ... Guys, I am a little exhausted right now because I just came from college. I might have to end the stream a little sooner because I have some more college stuff to do after this. So yeah, after I'm done with, I'm most likely gonna end the stream. Oh, I've just been streaming for 2 hours. Wait, never mind. I might stream for longer. Okay, Abhivek, yes, that's exactly what I warned you. Your resetting has scored immediately in the else block, so every frame after scoring, it's set back to false, allowing another point immediately. And you get a flood of points at the screen's edge. You need to reset has underscore scored only when the player lands, not every frame. That's why, okay, that way one jump equals 1 point. Here's the corrected part of your loop. So if not player scored, I added this to be true. If player dot rect, oh, reset after landing. If player underscore rect dot bottom is greater than or equal to my floor dot y axis, notice the difference. Before you had has scored equals to false in the other frame. Now you only reset when the player touches the floor. Okay. So let's see. Under my player graphics has scored else. Okay. Honestly, if if this should be an if as well. So if my player underscore rect dot bottom, okay, is greater than or equal to my floor dot y axis, this is going to be set to false. Now if I run the command, up, okay, there is a point. Oh, guys, I'm a little bad. I should give myself some admin commands here. Oh, guys, I'm not that good at playing games. Okay. Wait. Every time I jump, I get a point. Okay, my logic has something messed up in it, most likely. So, if not player has scored, if player.rect.bottom is less than or equal to enemy.rect.top and player underscore rect.center x is greater than enemy underscore rect.center x, score plus equals to 1, reset the landing. If my player underscore rect.bottom is greater than or equal to my floor.y axis, this thing equals to false. Let's go with control A, control C. Guys, my brain is partially stopped working because I already studied and I came. Base started bunch space day. Sensei, it seems to not work to get question bar. Every time I jump, I get a point. I want to get a point. I want to get a point every time I jump over the enemy. Okay, let's see. Alberic, listen carefully. You're still thinking in frames, not events. Right now, your score logic triggers as soon as your player is above the enemy. Every frame while in the air, that's why each jump is giving multiple points. We need to trigger it to score only once per successful jump over the enemy like a proper event rather than a continuous condition. Here's how to fix it. Detect a jump over enemy only when the player completely passes the enemy horizontally. Player's x-axis crosses enemy's x-axis plus width if jump right or enemy's x-axis if jumping left. Mark has scored true. When that happens, reset score only okay, count score only once per jump. If not, player has scored. Okay, if player's wrecked, means bottom. If player center x, okay, enemy center x, okay, score plus equals to 1, okay, key points. Player underscore rect dot bottom is less than or equal to enemy underscore rect dot top, ensures the player is above the enemy. Player underscore rect dot center x is greater than enemy underscore rect dot right, or player underscore rect dot center x is less than enemy underscore rect dot left, ensures the player fully passes horizontally. Has scored blocks multiple points in one jump. Reset has scored only when the player lands ready for the next jump. I see. Hey. Okay, so if not player, okay, if my player has not scored, if my player dot rect dot bottom is less than my enemy underscore rect dot top, I actually copy this. There we go. Okay, and then add another statement. Does this like make a difference? There. My score plus equals to 1. That's this if statement is there. Okay, now if I run the command. Guys, I should give myself admin commands real quick. Basically some privileges. Let's change my this thing to 15. Now my jumps are gonna be pretty high. Nice. There you go, let's just jump over NPCs now. No, I'm gonna... Guys, you guys did see that. Okay. I wanna see if my logic works. So 3, 4, 5. There we go. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, I forgot. I didn't add my... Okay, I do need to memorize this part though. This looping part of the score. The score is going to be real important. 3 ifs. Okay, for my second score. Honestly, I actually might call it a day right now because I still gotta do some of my college stuff, guys. As you can see, it's almost 5 o'clock. I have a due, but like I don't know, 11 o'clock or something. I gotta like read like a lot of pages. I'm glad I got some time here though. Although I might add that next stream, honestly. Something's wrong with each chats or something. Yeah, honestly, I might add the next stream. This stream, I've not been energetic for the past couple of streams because let me actually go to my other, like my main screen. Alright guys, so I haven't actually been energetic for the past couple of streams because I'm really exhausted. I do my college stuff, come home, stream a little, then learn some of my home stuff, being my thumbnails, and go back to college, do college stuff. And that aside, I actually feel like I might end the stream right now, even though I usually stream for 4 hours or 5 hours. Today's is a little pathetic because it's like 2 hours and 40 or 30 minutes. Okay, that aside, if you guys enjoyed this stream, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Like helps my algorithm, sharing makes you smile, subscribing is like it, cherry on top. And I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video. Peace.